Hey, you. Welcome to or welcome back to Keisha's House, Motivation and Inspiration. I'm Keisha, and as always, I am so glad that you stopped by. It is another week. It is Monday, and it's 4th of July week. I'm so excited for all of these back-to-back holidays. Come on, let's do it. So, for those of you who are going to have a short week this week, yes, I know, we've been waiting for this, but enjoy. I'm getting ahead of myself. Those of you who do have to work this week, thanks for what you do, because the reality is the fact that you're going to work is really giving a lot of us an opportunity to spend time with our families and to enjoy. So thanks for what you do. But again, I hope you enjoy yourself. I am absolutely ahead of myself today, but I am so excited that it is a new week, that it's Monday, and it's a short week. Why? Because last week was a test and a trial. Let me tell you, I cannot explain to you how many moments I had last week where I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I just got way too much on my plate and just not enough time. So let me step back. I'm jumping ahead. Let me step back and let you know what in the world has been going on. So last week's quote, if you are following along, and if you're not, no problem, just jump in where you're at. Last week's quote was the following: you are exactly who you choose to be. You are exactly who you choose to be. And of all weeks, like last week was the week that I needed to have that quote. But I did not realize how perfect this quote was for everything that's going on. And what is that you say? It is the Olympics. Now, the Olympics is going to start in about a month. The opening games will begin late July. However, this last week or so, everyone has been focusing in on who are going to be our champions that are going to represent us at the Olympic Games. And I'm excited. I watched some swimming last week. I watched some track and field, specifically the hurdles. Many moons ago, I was a hurdler, so that was really great to watch. I was able to watch last night the women's gymnastics. We now know who our team is. Simone Biles is back, and she's doing amazing. And it's crazy. She's like late 20s, and that's considered old in her sport, but she is still breaking records. Then we have a girl who is just turned 16 who is on the team. So that is amazing. Just the gamut of age, but amazing talent and strength. The men's team in a long time looks like they may be able to get a medal and compete really well. So cross my fingers and cheering them on. I will definitely be watching gymnastics. But track and field, I mean, young girls breaking records. We're not even at the Olympics yet, and there are women that are breaking or meeting the world records while breaking records here just in America. I mean, it is super exciting. It is super exciting because it's not something that you just wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to be an Olympian tomorrow. No, like it is years of preparation. Years. And one of the guys, gymnastics, he was interviewed and someone said, you know, you just walked up to me and said that you're an Olympian. And he's like, yeah, I came here saying that I'm making the team. I've worked too hard. And I love that. Somebody made the comment. Trust me, I jumped to the comments and people were not happy the comment was made. But there's one moderator was saying, well, you know, some people say that he comes across a little cocky, and people are like, what are you talking about? No, he doesn't. He's worked hard. He's humble. He's just letting you know that he put in the work, and because he put in the work, he is who he is. And it made me think of this quote, right? You are exactly who you choose to be. He walked in there and said, I was going to make this team. So we made the team. And they said, well, what should we expect of you from the Olympics when you get there, from you and the men's team? And he said, medals. We're getting medals. And I love that. I just love that confidence. Last week I watched one of the swimmers. She did an amazing job. And they said, you know, hey, I'm always for a really good, like just that comeback story, right? And she wasn't looking too great the day before. And after they interviewed her, they said, well, what'd you do? What'd you do to prepare? They were counting her out. And she said, well, last night, I was getting down on myself, and then I just started watching videos of me winning. She's like, because I know I'm a winner. What? Yes. She's like, I know I'm a winner. Our mindset is so important. And it's the same stories from the girls in track. People are like, people counted me out. And these girls are crying because they're so happy, but they're not crying just because they're happy. They're crying because they know that they have a story of triumph. They're like, people said I couldn't do this. People said I shouldn't be here. I knew I should have been here, and I did the work. I love it. I love it. So I got super excited about this quote. I realized it's really just the tip of the iceberg, because yes, it is, you are exactly who you choose to be, but the reality is there's preparation that has to come to that, right? This past week, I have been almost every other day spending 4 to 5 hours in my car getting my son back and forth to where he needs to be. Why? Because he had a massive basketball tournament this past week. We drove the whole family up. We had to stay in a location. Like, it was a whole thing. But I know he did the work. Now, did they win? No. Basketball is a team sport. They did not win. However, they got there. They showed up. Winning 3 out of 4 games is great. Do I think they could have won the whole thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. They have the talent and they've been putting in the work. But the reality is, it's not always our time. It's not always our season. And I also got that when I was watching all of these Olympians. So many people have gone on to break records after having a poor performance, or it just really just not being their time, the time before. It's okay. It's part of the journey. And what's really beautiful about it is that who they are today as athletes is so much better in terms of strength and knowledge, experience than they were before. And it was the adversity of not winning that helped to get them there, to now become world record holders. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And it hurts in the moment. It hurts in the moment when you see yourself being one thing, like my son's team. They saw themselves being the winners and you're not. But it doesn't mean you're done. It just means you are who you choose to be. If you choose to be a basketball player, an athlete, or whatever it is that you choose to be, you can get there, but it takes work and preparation. We don't just get to check a box and say, I am this, and then I'm done. I could just sit on my couch and it will happen. It doesn't work like that. We have to put the work in. So I'm super excited about what's to come next month with all of the Olympics, but I'm really excited about that quote because trust me, I had to lean on it. So this was the situation. I am back in school. I'm always in school, it feels like. And I had to take the lead and take the kids out of town for my son's basketball game. So now I have 2 classes going on at the same time. I try to avoid that at all costs. I'm driving up now as the lead adult because my husband could not go. And I get there and one of the twins is sick. This kid ended up having like strep throat, and I did not realize any of this was happening. So I am taking care of this little one, trying to get the second twin not to get sick, taking my older son back and forth, but trying to keep him away from his brother so he does not get sick. It was a lot. It felt overwhelming. And there was a moment where I was like, okay, things are going to drop. What in the world do I do to get past this? And I had to, I kid you not, I had to really dig deep and be like, who are you? Who are you? Because I have done much harder things than I am dealing with right now. So what makes you think that you could quit? What makes you think that you could just be like, I'm just not going to do these things? What makes you think you're going to come this far and then just drop the ball? Like, I had to have this conversation with myself to get myself back on track. And that happens. And it's okay because we're human. I mean, do we really think that self-doubt and fear are not going to just creep in whenever they can? We talk about automatic thoughts here all the time. Automatic thoughts are negative and they're untrue. And I really started to question myself of, should I even be doing these courses? But I had to remind myself what the goal was. There was a purpose. I didn't just wake up and say, let's just take some extra classes today and let's just add more to my plate than I already have going on. I didn't do that. There's a purpose to it. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves. And I know I had to remind myself often this week. And so many times I was trying to figure out a way just to be like, all right, we're done. Like maybe this season of my life is over and I'm done because I'm tired. And you know what happened? I got it all done. I got it done on time. Some things I had to adjust and it just had to be okay. And I think there's also beauty in that, in recognizing when things can just be okay, because perfection doesn't make sense. It's unattainable. So I may not be perfect in what I'm doing, but I'll get it done. I'll hit the requirements that are needed. And it's just going to have to be okay. And that is okay. So I'm excited because I'm telling you, I was in the middle of last week already waiting for this moment, because knowing that all of the trials of the week would be behind me. And even when it felt overwhelming of trying to be all things to everybody, having 3 kids at different ages is not easy, but I got it done. So you are who you choose to be. Okay, so we may not be athletes, but there's something about your life that freaks somebody else out. Like I always say this, my life is somebody else's nightmare. And your life is somebody else's nightmare. And you're looking at somebody else's life and was like, no, I don't want to do that either, right? We all have these moments where we're just like, this is just not for me. And we're trying to figure out how in the world do people do these things. But you don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is worry about what it is that you need to be doing and what it is that you want to do and who you are. And just hitting it and getting it done. So again, how was your week last week? Like if I had to grade myself, I'm absolutely giving myself an A. Although I got really close to just wanting to throw in the towel, I pushed through. And that's the beauty about these quotes. Like if you're listening, you may not really think that you would. Like these quotes are really like, okay, it's a quote in the week. And then I don't know about you, this happens to me all the time. I'm just like, oh shoot, I needed that quote. Like I didn't even know that I needed the quote. I had no idea what was ahead of me in the week, but I definitely need to lean in on it. And this is one of the ones that I had to. So if I had to give myself, I'm giving myself an A. Remember, we do not fail at life. It's either A, B, or C, whatever is your grade. You make the decision. It's your rubric. You can decide to share it or you don't have to. It is yours. The reality is, even though having an A, there's always room for improvement. I always have a place to improve. And this is your time, your moment to sit here and say, let me reflect. What is it that I could have done better? What is it that I needed to learn from last week? And then how am I going to be better prepared for this week ahead? So it is a great, great thing. It's a great thing to look at our grade, check off that box, all right, and then get past it. It's a new week. That was last week. Learn from the mistake, identify where you need to put some effort, and then move on. So I'm giving myself an A, but I'm still not perfect. There's things that I could be doing better. I know I can work on my time management with my life. It's so funny. Time management at work is on. Time management at work is at home is like, it's optional, right? So let's just dive right into the quote for this week. I didn't read a book this week. Why? Because I've been sitting in my car for hours. However, the Olympics, watch it. Amazing, amazing stories. So this week's quote is the following. Being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. It's optional. And I wanted to pick a quote this week that was not the same as last week, but in that realm, because it's important to recognize that life is going to happen. Life is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. And when it does happen, we're not always going to be prepared. Last week, I lost a cousin, more like an uncle of mine, that has always been in my life. And for him not to be there anymore, it's weird. There are people, there are opportunities, there are jobs, there are seasons in your life that may not always be there. And I think the hardest thing is when people in your life are not always going to be there. But we have to recognize that life is going to happen. We're going to have challenges no matter what we do. But we don't have to be defeated by it. When we lose people that we love, we have to keep living. It's not anything we get over. It's something that we learn to live with. And we get to make that choice of how we're going to continue to move forward. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun. It's not going to be instant. And when we are dealing with challenges, we just have to keep reminding ourselves that we don't have to lose. I also heard this quote. This came from one of the track stars. She said that even when I don't win, I'm still winning. Because the goal in her life isn't just about medals. It's about so much more. It's about the journey that she's going through. And what every event and what every win and every loss brings to her life and her overall development of who she is. You're winning no matter what. As long as you continue not to be defeated, you're winning. What the decision is, what the outcome is, isn't the point. It's the journey through it. Only 3 people in each event will get a medal. It is bronze, silver, and gold. But the reality is we look at those 3 people who win, but then we oftentimes forget how many times they were winning to even get to that moment. You may be in a moment or in a season of your life. It could be the job that you're in, the relationship that you're in, the season that your children are in, whatever it may be. And no matter what the outcome of that season is, the reality is you already went through a whole bunch of trials, wins, successes, and losses. And through all of that life that you've lived, it's in those wins and in those moments and in those times of development that got you in this present season. So you're not losing. You're not losing. I have a feeling you would agree. There are some times in my life that I did not do as well in something, or I sought out an opportunity and I didn't see it the whole thing through. And full circle, it'll come back around 3, 4, 5 years later. That random thing that I did that I didn't yet accomplish was the experience that I needed to help me today. It's crazy how that works out, but it always does. That may not have been your moment in season, now might be, but you needed that experience to have you better prepared for right now. So life is going to happen. Not a matter of if, just a matter of when. And being challenged in life is inevitable. Being defeated is optional. So the challenge for this week is life is going to happen and we have no idea what this week holds. And I think oftentimes when we don't have the normal routine, right? Because of a holiday coming, there's extra challenges that happen, especially when you start throwing friends and family in the mix. But you don't have to be defeated by it. Something may come up this week. It may be small, it may be big, it may be more noticeable, it may be really incognito. But make sure that you lean in and remind yourself that you don't have to be defeated. You don't have to be defeated. Look, I'm excited about this week. I hope you can hear it and feel it, and hopefully it's contagious. Because I know that I just overcame a week of trials. I don't know what's ahead of me. It's going to be a busy one too, but I know that I will not be defeated by it. I might have to get really creative with my problem solving throughout the week, but I won't be defeated, and neither will you. Remember, you're worthy of the life that you want to live. Have a good day. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.